Good morning, friends. My name is Ayush Malik, and in this particular video, we will talk about the rational numbers. Okay, in this particular video, we will talk about the rational numbers in perspective of class 8. Okay, we will not go beyond the syllabus of the class 8 students, so it will be beneficial for the students who are in the class 8 or 7th grade. Correct. So let us start. Uh, okay, so first of all, what we'll do, we will define the rational numbers. What are rational numbers? And then we will proceed with what is the how can we operate different operations with the rational numbers, as we have done with the integers or whole numbers or natural numbers. Like that, we will see how can we use different types of operations on the rational numbers as well. So first of all, you have to keep in mind that it is not a very new concept, it is not a very new number. You are familiar with these numbers, because if you know about the natural numbers or whole numbers and fractions, it will be like you have done with the rational numbers. Okay, it's just a recollection of all the things that you have studied in the previous grades. Okay, we have just given an extra name to it. Correct. So let us look at the definition of it. So the rational number is a number that can be written as a fraction. Correct. That can be written as a fraction. Okay, a rational number is a number which can be written in the form of fraction. Say, then what is fraction? What do you mean by fraction? Fraction is something that we write in the form of p by q. Correct. We write it in the form of p by q. And one thing you should remember, that q, we write it in the form of p by q, and this q should not be equal to 0. Correct. Q is not equal to 0. And one important thing, this p and q should be a integer. Correct. This p and q should be an integers. Correct. So integers means any natural number, or say 0, or any negative numbers you can pick it. So we represent q, we represent rational number with q, and it includes all the integers. Okay, all the integers, and integers, as we know, includes all the natural numbers, 0 and negative numbers. Rational number also includes exact decimals like 0.25. This is also a form of a fraction. Okay. As you know, about the fractions and decimals representation, we can write any fractions in the form of decimals as well. This is just a different way of representing the numbers. If we write 1 by 10, this is a fractional form. I can write it in the form of decimal as well. So if I have to write in the form of decimal, I just write like this, 0.1. Okay, like this we can write the fractions in the form of decimals. So rational numbers contains what? Rational number contains integers as well as exact decimals and fractions. Now next to the second slide, as I said, rational numbers can be write in the form of p by q, where p and q are integers. Correct. P and q are integers, and q is not equal to 0. This thing you should keep in your mind. Correct. Now look at this. In the previous classes, we have studied about the natural numbers. What are the natural numbers? As we know, natural numbers are basically the counting numbers, those numbers which we use for the counting purpose. Let's say you have if you go to the market for buying some apples or fruits, so for that thing you should know about the numbers. Which type of numbers? The natural numbers. Let's say you have to buy 5 apples or 7 apples. If you have to convey this idea that you need 5 apples, you use a number that we call it natural numbers. This is basically for the counting purpose. Okay, if we include 0 to it, if we include 0 to the natural numbers, we will get whole numbers. So what are whole numbers? All the counting numbers together with 0, that we call whole numbers. Correct. And then if we include the negative number as well, if we include the negative numbers, we will get the integers. So integer is a set of numbers which includes all the counting numbers, 0 and the negative numbers. So we get the integers, and then we come up with rational numbers. So rational number contains all these things like integers, whole numbers, and counting numbers, as well as they includes all the fractions. Okay, all the fractions, like say 7 by 10, this is a fraction. Okay, minus 5 by 4, okay, this is also a fraction. No, this is not a fraction, this is a rational number. Because if we see the definition of fraction number can be written in the form of p by q, and p and q should be a natural number. correct? In the fraction, this thing you should keep in mind, that fractions are those numbers which can be written in the form of p by q, and p and q are natural numbers, whereas rational numbers are also written in the form of p by q, but here p and q are integers. Okay, they can be negative as well. So this two things should not be get mixed with each other. Okay, so please uh, keep this in mind. See that as we know about the integers contains all the natural numbers, 0 as well as the negative integers. So in the integers, as we know, it contains all the natural numbers, 0 and the negative integers, correct? And if we include all the integers as well as fractions, we will come up with a rational number. Okay, as we have discussed, rational numbers, what rational numbers can be represented in the form of p by q, and where p and q are integers and q is not equal to 0. So in simple language, you can say that rational number includes all the integers, okay, and as well as all the fractions, correct? So okay, in this particular your class, like class 8 or 7, you only have to understand the rational numbers, what are rational numbers. But if you go in the higher grades, you come up with you come to know about the irrational number as well. So in the irrational numbers, it contains all the surds. Okay, it contains all the surds and the transcendental numbers. So what are surds? Like you have seen, like root 2, okay, like root 3, this type of numbers that we call as surds, correct? So irrational number contains all the surds as well as transcendental numbers. Transcendental numbers, like in mathematics we use some special type of numbers, like you have listened about you have heard about a number like pi. Okay, pi is a type of number which is irrational. Okay, we will see the definition of irrational number as well, that we have to see in, not in the class 8, in the class 9th, correct? We will define it there. Okay, so and so we have seen the rational numbers. So irrational number contains all the surds and transcendental number. Okay, now if we include all the rational numbers as well as irrational numbers, then we come up with a number that we call it real numbers, correct? Real number contains all these numbers, correct? If we have to say that a number, this real number contains all these rationals, irrational, integers, fractions, surds, transcendental numbers, zero, negative numbers, natural numbers, correct? So rational number is like a grandfather of this number tree. Okay, okay, this is like grandfather. Then they have two sons. This son has also have two sons. This has also two sons. This has three sons, like that. You see, this is a family number family, correct? So you have understood that. Now we have to see some properties of rational numbers on multiplication. As we know, there are four kinds or four types of operations that we do on a number, like you have seen in the natural number chapter, or a whole number chapter, that there are certain properties that are associated with the operations. So how many operations, first of all, let us clear with that, how many operations are there with the number? Yes, there are four operations. As we know, the first is addition, second is subtraction, third is multiplication, and fourth is division, correct? Fourth is division. These four types of operation that we know about, and that we do operate on the numbers. So you have seen these operations on how to use or how to do in the natural numbers, or whole numbers, or fractions as well. So in the rational number, it is not a very new thing. If you have a very good understanding to how to operate these operations on the whole numbers, the natural numbers, or fractions, you don't have to worry about the rational numbers at all, correct? So it's just like for the revision purpose, that there are certain properties that we know about. What are their properties? So we have heard about this like closure property. What does closure property is on multiplication, correct? This is about multiplication, just keep this in mind. If you see the closure property, this is if we multiply two rational numbers. Okay, if we multiply two rational numbers, it will always give a rational number, correct? If we multiply any two rational number, it will always give a rational number. Okay, third rational number, that will always be a rational number, correct? This is a closure property. Then we come up with a commutative property. Commutative property says, if we multiply two rational numbers, uh, they can be in any order. Okay, correct? If we multiply a, let's say this is a rational number, if we multiply a with b, that will be always equal to the b multiplied by a. correct? So it is like that, that we called as commutative property. Then we see in the associative property. What is associative property? In this we know, if there are three or more rational numbers, they can be grouped in any order. You can multiply any two numbers with each other, and you can solve the problems, and you will get the same answer every time, correct? Every time you will get the same answer, that we call as associative property. Next, this identity element, what is that? If you multiply any rational number with 1, it will give you the rational number itself. Okay, like for example, let's say 2 by 5, this is a rational number. If we multiply it with 1, it will always give what? 2 by 5, correct? That is our rational number. So this is the identity element. And next, fifth property, what? Multiplication with 0. So what is that? If you multiply any rational number with 0, it will always give a rational number that is 0 itself. That means if you multiply any number with 0, it will always give a number that is 0, correct? So this is the properties based on the multiplication. And for the division, it also probably the same, and there are certain changes you can see it in this. Okay, like division by 0. If we divide any number by 0, it will if a is a rational number, then a divided by 0 is not possible at all. So what does that mean? We cannot divide any rational number with 0. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so this is the thing that you need to remember for the divisions of rational numbers. Okay, no now now we will see some basic problems, like how can we add some certain rational numbers or subtract certain irrational numbers. It's just a revision purpose for the I think you will be familiar with the this type of operations, like in the fractions. Let us say, take two rational numbers like 2 by 5 plus 1 by 4. Okay, if we have to add these rational numbers, what we'll do? First thing is that we will take the LCM of denominators. So what will the LCM of 5 and 4? The LCM of 5 and 4 will be the 20, correct? So the LCM will be 20. So the next step is we divide 20 by the denominator of first rational number, that is 5. If we divide 20 by 5, so we will get 4, and that 4 we will multiply with the numerator, that is 2. So we will get 8. Here we have to add this, and again this process will be done with the second rational number as well. If we divide 20 by 4, we will get 4 5, and if we multiply 5 with the 1, that will get 5 itself. Okay, so 8 plus 5, we will get 13, and our denominator is 20. So if we add 2 by 5 plus 1 by 4, we will get 20, correct? This is how simple is it. I think you are very much familiar with these things, because it is similar like fractions. And basically fractions and rational numbers are not very different. There are slightly difference in fractions and rational numbers that I had already differentiated. Like fractions, it contains fractions also write in the form of p by q, and rational numbers also write in the form of p by q. But rational numbers are write in the form of p by q, and p and q, there it is a integer. But in the fraction, p and q are the natural numbers. This thing you should keep in your mind. So next operation that we will see, the subtraction. Okay, subtraction. Let's say 1 by 2 by 4, and you have to subtract it with 1 by 2. So what will the answer? Take the LCM, divide it. 2 minus 2 2. Okay, so 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 by 4, it will be 0. Okay, this can we do. Okay, this is one of the simple example that I took. Okay, next we will do the multiplication. Let's say we have 2 by 50. Okay, if we have to multiply it with 3 by 18, so what we'll do, we can cut it with 9. Okay, and this can be also cut it. In the numerator we will get 1, and the denominator it will come out as 150. So our result will be 150. Okay, like that we can operate any operations on the rational number. Okay, and the last question that we'll take for the division, like 2 by let's say different 10 by 20, if you have to divide it by 1 by 2. So how can we do 10 by 20? If we change the sign of the division to multiplication, you take the reciprocal of the second term or second number. So with the 2 we can divide it, it will come out as 10, and with the 10 it will be cutted and the result will be 1 itself. Okay, like that we can operate any number of operations with the rational number, and this is as easy as this, you can see. Okay, with this we are done with the rational number chapter, and you don't have to know more about the rational numbers more than this, and I think it will be beneficial for you. Or so if you like this, and if you like this, so like our videos, and please subscribe and share it as well. So for today, that's it. Thank you very much.